Oh, hello everybody, and welcome to the last video of the academic year, where we've had so much happening. We've had some PTA event, we've had Celebration of the Arts very recently, but there's one event that we should talk about, because last week we had Fame the Musical and it was a spectacular success. And I have Benoit, who's the director, and we're just going to talk a little bit about Fame and why it went so well and some of the things we did differently and just how it was the perfect way to end the school year. So Benoit, tell us a little bit about Fame and putting it together and things.
Okay, yeah. Well, first and foremost, I think it was a success, but it was a collegial success. I think the support from the community was incredible. I could spend the next 16 minutes now naming everyone that has worked so hard on the project, but really it was...
Well, no, it's worth saying something about that, because we do have a community approach to musical. Like, we do have teachers in it, parents in it, students in it, and they're all pretty key. And parents did a lot.
Yes, so I think it all comes down to having really assembled and created a theatre company, or at least the spirit of a theatre company, ISL Theatre Company. And the vision that aligns with our community charter and its values, commitment, intention is to really bring the community together in all aspects. So yes, we started with casting students from the PYP to the DP. That's important. Casting staff, teaching and non-teaching staff. And this year, what I felt was an important addition was to bring the parents around us, and they found their space in that company by helping on the technical coordination and the administration. And their support, specifically Berta and Ramiro, was...
and Ian too.
And Ian toward the end when we built the set was, I don't have the word, we would have not done it without them. So I think it was an example of how the community can come together.
Yeah.
And
Betsy as well did it.
And Betsy did, I mean, it was, I can't start naming all the people that worked so hard, but yeah.
No, I know a lot of parents, but also there were parents who were in it, there were parents supporting it, there were parents helping around. I mean, there was some really quite extensive parental
Yes, and we had as well a parent that, an ex-parent with the next student that contacted me, and this young person who left school came back to help backstage as well. So we also had an alumni in the production, which I think we reach out every sort of aspect of, what makes us as a community, really. Yeah. And on that idea of community, I think it was important as well to try as a blueprint to go somewhere. And what best to have a play but in a theatre. So the idea of going to the Art Centre in Hounslow to find a theatre that is a real place for the art, for live arts. Give that experience to the students, to everybody, yes, but also to invite the community, the parents, the audience to watch it in a place that is dedicated for the art. And seeing that all performances were sold out pretty much means that our community traveled. And we really became the community that we are at school somewhere else, and that was really heartwarming, I feel.
I'd say something else about the community. It's got primary and secondary students in, so really students from the whole school. Which also means it's quite hard to find musicals that fit, because you need adult parts, teenage parts, and primary school parts. I'm trying to find a musical where you can fit all that in.
That's always a challenge. Yeah, it's always a challenge. Luckily, we start the year with the theatre company, and we open the club in September to December, and we work, we do numbers, we do some medleys, some mishmash, and we can see who we've got, and from that we sort of elicit what would be the best musical to do, always at the back of our mind that adult parts, we can always give it to adults. But it was a stretch. We have starting to build the interest for boys to participate in the musical, and but they are slightly younger than our lead girls, and so we had to stretch a little bit the game of theatre, which is the all pretend that it's all for Fame a bunch of 16, 17 years old, when really we had a 10-year-old lead that has to play the part of 16-year-olds. But I think once you sit down and accept that it's all but a game of theatre, the magic happens and you forget about that, and I think that was successful.
And there was some amazing, some of the younger students, quite amazing.
That's true.
So what are your kind of, when you look back, what are you most proud about it? What do you think went particularly well? I'll say one thing, I thought the quality of singing, we have a great singing coach in Jess these days. And also the fact that it was choreographed so well, George did the choreography and it was really, to see how well some of those scenes were put together was very impressive.
The biggest success is that we had some great feedback from the audience. They've enjoyed the show. They didn't come because their kids were in it. They really wanted to have an experience of theatre, and conversation in the foyer afterward really good. I got some incredible feedback. They felt they were entertained, but there were themes that we wanted to address as well. Conversations that we've had with the cast, young cast or teenage cast. What Fame brings us some themes that were quite tricky sometimes to address, on sexual orientation, on anorexia, bulimia, on teenage depression. And we've had those conversations with our cast at different level. We sort of catered for the younger one, the older one. We asked the older one to try to be supportive of what we were sharing to the younger ones. And when parents and the audience watched the play, they felt that we had had some integrity in addressing those sensitive issues and offering a space where the young people could actually find their confidence in hearing and partaking in this conversation. And I think that's the role of theatre in itself, that has this incredible opportunity to build that confidence, to educate on how to have difficult conversations with adults, and hopefully they can continue to educate themselves on those issues with a bit more maturity and experience.
One thing I liked as well, just that you might get a school musical where some things work really well and some don't, but actually everything was a really good standard. The band was great, Amos conducted it, the band was really good, the directing, the acting was really good, the singing, quality of singing, usually you get a mix of singing, but generally the singing was great, and the choreography, so actually it wasn't as if there was one part that was, so it was really well done.
It is, yes. If you think about performing art or musical theatre in itself, it's a blend, conglomerate of several subjects. It's acting, it's singing, it's dancing, but the magic of musical theatre is to make it seamlessly being one performance.
Most of the work, good team as well.
And Georgie's Georgie had to work
Amos.
On probably the biggest challenge, which was to choreograph with young people who've never done dance before, and we had to make it look like those characters were performing art students.
I know
that was the biggest challenge. So most of the rehearsals were about choreography. Amos did fantastic in assembling a band that could just support the students in their singing, and it was just ticking like a clock, making those melodies. It just happened, and we had 100% trust that this would be just another magical character of the performance, the music. And then the acting was, the students really stepped up. We had workshop, we had lessons. I have almost of those students in drama lessons, so we work on that sort of tissue of acting, and but they are so resilient and they are so risk-taker, those kids, that they've pushed themselves and really stretched their ability, especially during the performances. So the best performances that we've seen were actually those 2 evenings and the matinee. There is that moment where the light goes off, the stage starts getting alive, and it's just happened. It's that first time for the audience to witness that story, and their performance went through the roof. It was fantastic. So kudos to everybody.
So there you go, everyone. We really had to finish by celebrating just a great week and a great way to end with Fame. I'd just like to finish by looking forward to seeing all those returning students and families and teachers beginning of next year, and for all those people leaving us to say please stay in touch and to wish you all the very best. Thank you, and we'll see you in the new academic year. Thank you.
Thank you.